Okay. So we are continuing with Perik Kufyud, test 119, and we're up to the letter Vav. So so Vav is a letter that has a name for itself, a word for itself, actually. So whenever you see Vav, almost always, not always, always, but almost always, Vav is and. Okay, when you see it, it says
Mhm.
and. And interesting, even in its shape, it hints to that. A Vav is like a hook, like a crocheting hook with a hook at the top and the line down. And Chazal explains to us that a Vav connects one thing to another. So now we're doing the letter Vav, and we are seeing what David HaMelech says about this letter Vav. So, if you remember when you were in school and you wrote an English essay, if you started a sentence with the word and you got a big red line under it, and your teacher said, "We do not use and to start a sentence," right? That was always the rule. If you have a look at these 8 psukim, every single one of them starts with a vav, which is and. But even more than that, um, it's okay to start a second sentence in a thing with and, because it's this sentence and that one. But how do you start at the beginning of something with and what? So if you go back into the Torah, we see this many times. Probably one of the most famous times is where Yitzchak is giving the famous bracha to, he thinks to Esav, but he gives it to Yaakov. And he begins with the words which we say every Motzei Shabbos. We say, V'yitain lacha ha'elekim, and Hashem should give you. And immediately, almost all the commentaries over there ask, and Hashem should give you? Like, what is the and that should start, Hashem should give you? And Rashi over there comments very famous words, Yitain v'yachzor v'yitain. Hashem should give, and then he should go back and give again. And lots of explanation on that. And when it comes to blessings, we want to get them over and over and over and over. Yitain v'yachzor v'yitain. And the Medrash Tehilim comments over here and says, in this paragraph, we're going to see a similar principle. So begins the Medrash Tehillim, begins the psukim of the letter Vav. It says, this is pasuk mem aleph, Vivoyuni chasadecha Hashem. Please give to me your kindnesses, Hashem, chuascha keimrasecha, and your salvation, just like you said you would. So, what does this mean? Please give to me your kindnesses. So, immediately, the Medrash Tehillim says, Yitain v'yachzor yitain. Hashem should give us his kindnesses, and then he should give us more kindnesses, and then he should give us more kindnesses, and he should keep on giving kindnesses. And the Medrash Tehillim asks, what kindness are we talking about? So we will discuss that a little bit more, but the obvious answer to that, what kindness is David HaMelech asking for when he says, Shu'ascha ke'imrasecha, your salvation as you promised us, which means that David HaMelech is asking Hashem to be kind and give us Mashiach, just like he promised us. And the commentaries ask why the word and be nice to us, give us chesed, vivayunu chasadecha, it should just say, vivayunu Hashem shuascha. Hashem, you should give us your salvation. What is the chasadecha, your kindness, what is that adding for us? And so we know that the majority of things that we get from Hashem are not because we're so great. The majority of things that Hashem gives us is simply because of Hashem's kindness. So we do try to be good, and we do try and deserve things that we get, but we don't always deserve everything that we get. And so David HaMelech is saying over here, the first thought is that Mashiach, we want you to bring Mashiach, and that's whether or not we deserve him. And therefore, chasadecha, your kindnesses, because chesed is when Hashem gives us things even if we don't deserve it. So, vivayun chasadecha Hashem, please give us your kindness. That's even if I don't deserve what I'm about to ask for, give it to me anyway. And as we said at the beginning, that here we're talking about blessings as well. And the request David HaMelech is making of Hashem over here is Vivayuni, and Hashem, you should give us all these blessings. In other words, the blessings that David is asking for and the blessings that we ask for when we're repeating this capital of Tehilim is blessing that Yitain v'yachzor yitain, that Hashem should give us blessings and then He should give us more blessings, and it should be a continuing process of blessing after blessing after blessing after blessing, forever. The Rebbe takes us a little step further, and the Rebbe said that sometimes we get something that just that thing is good, and sometimes we get something that makes it helps other things to happen and be good as well. So sometimes you get a gift, and that's it. That's your gift. And sometimes you get a gift that with that gift you can achieve, you can get, you can have, you can grow. That gift itself helps you to get so much more. And so he explains what is this idea of and vivayuni, and you should, that it shouldn't just the blessings that we're asking for shouldn't just be blessings that it's nice to get, that's just good to get, but there should be blessings that cause us to have more blessings. There should be blessings that grow as our blessings. It's interesting that almost all the commentaries over here speak about David HaMelech here asking for Mashiach, and explain that it's very apropos that it comes in the Vav group, because Vav is gematria, it's the numerical value of 6, which represents the 6,000 years, and we have a promise or a guarantee that Mashiach will come before the 6,000th year, which it's still too long to wait, but it's very soon. Okay, uh, that's very soon. Another level of what David HaMelech is asking for over here, he says vivoyuni, strange word, because in it it's got the word ba, to come, and it's also got the word ani, to me. And David explains that, sorry, the Mephoshim David explains that, um, sorry, the Mephoshim explain that David HaMelech doesn't doubt for 1 second that Hashem is going to fulfill His word. Shuas Hakim Rasecha, to bring us salvation, as He said. But David HaMelech is asking that it should happen through him. So I don't know if you remember when Yitzchak is davening for a child. He's davening with Rivka for a child, and says, why did he ask Yitzchak? Asked that Rivka should have a child, because he was pretty sure that he would have children. Hashem had promised Abraham, and he was taking over from Abraham, but nobody knew if Rivka would be the mother of the nation or not. There was precedent that Sarah gave her maid, she gave Hagar, to possibly be the mother of the Yidden, which didn't happen, didn't turn out like that, but that was the thought. And so over here, David HaMelech is thinking this way. Hashem promised that there will be salvation. He didn't promise who salvation will be through. So I have no doubt that the Yidden will be saved. What I do not know is if it will be through me or not. And this is when he says, Vivay uni chasadecha. I'm asking you, Hashem, that this kindness should come through me, ani, through me. He then continues next pasuk, and he says, "Ve'e'ene charfi davar," and then I will have what to answer those who mock me. Kivatachti bidvarecha, because I trust in your words. So David HaMelech is saying that there's so many people who make fun of us that we believe in Mashiach. So many people who say to us, like, what? After all these years, you really believe you're going to be saved? You believe in this strange idea that Mashiach is going to come. Like, what? They mock us for it. And David HaMelech says, I, in myself, need to know that Mashiach is going to come. I need to trust. I need to believe. And when I believe it, I don't have to explain it to anybody. I just have to know it and have to believe it on my own. He continues and he says, Va'al teitzel mipi dvar emes. Don't let me move away my mouth from any true words. Ad ma'od, very much. Ki lemishpatecha yichalti, because I rely on your laws. So this like seems strange pasuk. Okay, what is he saying when he first of all says, "Hashem, help me be honest," and not just be honest, but Hashem, help me be honest ad ma'id, very, very much. Don't let there be any non-truths with me. So the first thing is that he is speaking about the idea that he is a Pesach. David HaMelech used to answer questions, and he wants his big prayer to Hashem is that when he answers people's questions, he shouldn't, God forbid, make a mistake. Secondly, he shouldn't even be an adma'id. He shouldn't even be ambiguous, right? That people should hear something that he didn't say, or they should understand something that he didn't say. He wants it to be that whatever comes out of my mouth should be a dvar emes. It should be a true thing, not just true, but adma'id, very, very much, so that all mishpatim, all the rules that he gives, all the things that he paskins on, you can rely on. You can, no, it's fine. Continues and he says, Ve'eshmara Teresecha, and I will keep your Torah samid forever, la'elam va'ed, forever. And this expression, which we've come to use quite a bit, Tamid Leilam Va'ed, in our davening, this is the only place in all of Tanakh that these three words come together. Tamid La'ilam Va'ed. And take notice also that the word La'ilam is written in full. So you know that in Hebrew, you can write certain words with extra letters, like with a vav that doesn't have a sound, right? Because if you just put the dot on top, it would make the same. It would still say La'ilam. And when it's got the vav, it's called malay. The word is full. When it doesn't have the vav, it's called chaser. The word is empty. And here he's asking tamid, forever, la'olam va'ed, with a full olam, like a full forever. And this is David HaMelech promising, I intend to keep Torah. So I've been asking you since the beginning of this parak, I've been asking you, Hashem, to help me learn Torah. And again, in some of the other psukim, I'm going to ask you again, Hashem, to help me learn and to understand Torah. And over here, what I'm asking you is ve'eshmera sorasecha. I want to be able to keep your Torah. I want to take all that which I've learned, and I want to be able to put it into practice. So how does that happen? That the person is going to be able to put it into practice. So the commentaries tell us that this is actually a promise. Ve'eshmara soresecha. When a person tries to keep Torah mitzvahs, when they try and do their best, and they're keeping that which they've learned, then Hashem says, you know what's going to happen? You will be able to do it. Tamid la'olam va'ed. It's a guarantee that you'll be able to do it forever. And more than that, say the commentaries, that when it comes to doing mitzvahs, we actually need to ask Hashem for help. Because sometimes we have all the best intentions in doing a mitzvah, but we can't do it. For whatever reason, we can't do it. You want to go and listen to a shir and you have a flat tire. You want to give tzedakah and you have no cash in your house to give to the mashulach who's at the door. You have all these good intentions of doing things, and sometimes not your fault, right? It really seems like Hashem didn't allow you to do the mitzvah. And so this is also a request, says the Rambam, that we have to ask Hashem, I want to do your mitzvahs, but you, Hashem, have to help me. You have to allow me to do those mitzvahs. And when should I do those mitzvahs? Is La'elam Vayed. I want to be able to do them always, forever, all the days of my life. the various commentaries ask, why would the word tamid not be enough? He could have just written ve'eshmara seirascha tamid. I'll keep your Torah for always. What is this extra words of la'elam va'ed, forever? And a few different opinions of what these words add for us. So, first of all, it says that if we learn in this world, it will benefit us in the world to come. La'elam va'ed includes the world to come. Another opinion, what does La'ilam Va'ed include? The idea that it's not enough to just study Torah in the day, but we're obligated to study Torah not only in the days of our life, but also in the nights of our life. And the third thing, which actually comes from the Rambam, it says that it's not enough to learn, but you have to revise. A person who learns and doesn't revise, it's not possible for them to remember. I find it fascinating that sometimes I go back to look at old Prakim of Tehilim, which I spent hours and hours and hours preparing for a shir, gave the shir, and then when I read that Tehilim, I don't remember if I learnt it before, or if I gave a shir on it. I have to sometimes go and check, did I give a shir on this? So yes, if we don't revise Torah, we don't remember it. Sometimes we remember some of it. Sometimes we remember a little bit more. But Tamid La'elam Va'ed, Tamid I have to learn all the time. La'elam Va'ed, if I want to retain it, if I want to keep this, then I have to revise it, I have to go over it and over it again. David HaMelech explains in the next pasuk, what is this practically? So he says, Ve'eshalcha barchava, and then I'll go in the wide streets. Ki fikudecha darashti, because I want to follow your instructions. So this is strange wording. Ve'eshalcha barchava, that I'll walk, I'll go in the wide streets. So Rashi explains, he says there's all different parts of the Torah, and David HaMelech is going to mention all different parts. The Eshalcha is talking about halacha, the part of Torah, which is the halacha, the telling us what to do, how to behave. And he says Rashi, again, referring back to what he said before, I don't want any untruths to come out of my mouth. I want to be able to keep Torah and mitzvahs properly. So this is all referring to this pasuk, es halcha bar chava, that I'll keep giving Torah, teaching Torah, answering questions with confidence, with or hoping that it's going to all be it's all going to be correct. The Radak says similarly to Rashi, he says, Ve'es halchabar chavot, that I'll be able to walk in wide streets, gives us a picture of somebody walking down a big road very confidently, very like swaying their hands and knowing where they're going and not being shy. And he says, this is what David HaMelech is asking. He's saying to Hashem, I don't want to be afraid of answering people's questions. I don't want to be afraid of doing mitzvahs. I don't want to be afraid of keeping Torah. I want to eshalcha bar chava. I want to go walking confidently, without worrying about if I'm going to manage, if I'm going to trip in this. And the Ma'amlai says that this is specifically to someone who's answering other people, answering questions from other people. A person, an answerer, a person who's giving, who's paskening things, has to give their answers with confidence, with clarity, with knowledge, right? They have to be okay with themselves in order to answer questions. Imagine going to a doctor who says, I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe this, okay, and then just says, gives an answer without really knowing, just making a guess. Um, the same thing with Torah, says Ma'amla, is if you're going to answer anybody's questions, it has to be with knowledge and with confidence, and you have to make them feel confident. So Ma'amla asks and says, how do you reach that? How does a person come to a position? Maybe it's not their personality that they can answer with confidence. Maybe their personality is that they're nervous about it. They're unsure of themselves. And Amray's answers, how can each one of us be comfortable with Torah? only by learning it. That's what he said a pasuk or two ago. I will learn, I will learn, I will learn again, I will learn in the daytime, I will learn in the nighttime. Tamid la'ilam va'ed, I will be learning for always and forever. And if I do that, I will bring myself to be able to be confident and more comfortable with it. Um, Also, the idea is that the more we keep things, and there's a message to every single one of us, not just people who are answering questions, but when we start keeping mitzvahs, we are nervous. The more we keep the mitzvahs,
Yeah.
the less nervous we are about it, the more comfortable we are with it. So the first time you walk into a shul or somewhere that you've never been in before, you're not sure where to sit, and it's a different sitter than usual, and you're nervous. But the more times you go, each time you go, you become more confident. You become like that, more sure of yourself. You know where to go. You know what page to open on. You know what to do. Recently, I was sitting with somebody in shul, and she said to me that when she first came into shul, she was even afraid to do kaddish, 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 and like jump up and down because she thought that looked so stupid. Okay, until she was ready to, because she saw everybody else doing it. After a few weeks, she was also ready to do that. So say that says the Mamlays, you want to know how es halcha berchava that you can walk confidently in Torah is by practicing. The more you do it, the more you keep things, the more confident you'll feel. And the Amrais goes even one step further and says when a person is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're not confident. However much we think they look confident, they're not confident. They always, before a person does something which they know is not acceptable, they look around to check that there's no one watching them. They make sure that, like, I'm doing this behind everybody, because they don't feel confident in themselves. When you know you're doing the right thing, it's much easier to be confident. And a third level of understanding this expression, "Ve'es halcha barachava," that I'll walk in this open road, comes from the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says that there are some people who are afraid to be around other people because they're afraid that they'll be negatively influenced. And the Baal Shem Tov says we have to move ourselves into a space, into a place that we know we will not be influenced by people around us. And how do we get there? So the Baal Shem Tov explains that if you are a good influence on others, they won't be able to influence you negatively. If you're just passive, then people will be able to influence you. And so says the Baal Shem Tov, "Ve'es halcha barchava." Go walking, influence other people. Okay, be a good influence on other people. And if you just a good influence, you will not be negatively influenced. Another opinion of what does it mean, ve'es halcha barchava, we need so commentaries to love what we're doing. As long as we don't love what we're doing, we're going to struggle with it for always. We need to enjoy our Torah and our mitzvahs. And when we are not enjoying it, we struggle with it. And this is one of the requests that David HaMelech is making over here. Ve'es halcha barchava. I want to walk on this wide road. In other words, I want to enjoy Torah. I want to love what I'm doing. Another level of this, there's halcha barachava. I want to go that extra mile. So when it comes to keeping Torah mitzvahs, we can do exactly what's required of us, or we can put in a little extra. So generally, as Yidden, we do look to put in a little extra. So it comes to Hanukkah, for example, you could do the mitzvah with one candle, or you can do the mitzvah with 8 candles on the 8th night of Hanukkah, doing an extra one every night. Have you ever met a Jew who decided, I just want to do the basic. I just want to light one candle every night of Hanukkah. Finished. I'll have done the mitzvah. We have it in ourselves to want to go the extra mile, to do things better, right? So when we make our Shabbos meal, we add something even that we know we don't need, okay? And we add it. Why? Because we want to honor Shabbos a little bit more. Um, Whatever, all the different things that we do, we have it in ourselves to go that one little step further. And this, say the Chazal, is ve'es halcha berchava, that I want to be able to walk on this wide road and keep Torah properly. He continues, David HaMelech, and he says, "Va'adabra beidesecha, I will speak of your aiders, neged melachim, opposite kings, v'lo evash, and I will not be embarrassed." So literally, David HaMelech hung around with other kings or heads of countries, and one of the things that they took notice about is that David HaMelech spent an unusual amount of time studying Torah. And it's like, why are you spending so much time? You're the head of the country. You should be worrying about the potholes and the electricity and the whatever, not sitting all day and learning Torah. And they made fun of him, and they turned to him and they said, "What are you spending all your time learning Torah?" And he responds, "Lo evash, I'm not embarrassed, because when you're doing something that's good, you have nothing to be embarrassed about at all." Not only that, but a lot of the Torah that David HaMelech was involved with were things that other people might really have just made real fun of. They mocked him. So one of the big things that people mocked David HaMelech for, the outsiders, the other kings, is that David HaMelech used to answer shilas, answer questions about Tarat HaMishpacha, about Jewish marriage laws. And he said that other kings and heads of state said, this is what the king of a whole country has to bother himself with, whether this woman is pure or impure, whether she can go to the mikveh, she can't go to the mikveh. This is what he should spend his day doing. And his response is, Lo evash, I wasn't embarrassed. Why wasn't I embarrassed? Because I knew what I was doing was correct. And a third level of understanding this, David HaMelech is saying to us that when I didn't know the answer, even though I was David HaMelech, I was not embarrassed to go and ask somebody else, to get another opinion from someone, to get another psak from someone. Lo evosh, I never was embarrassed of this. The Tur actually says that, strangely, people are more embarrassed of other people than of Hashem. So often we'll do something embarrassing, quote unquote, in front of Hashem. We know He's watching, but as long as no person is watching. And what David HaMelech is saying over here is, I'm not embarrassed of people. I'm embarrassed, quote unquote, in front of Hashem, when Hashem is watching. And I'm now saying to you, Hashem, that I'm not embarrassed. Lo evash. I'm pleading with you, Hashem, that I should know what I'm doing is correct, and I shouldn't be embarrassed. And the final lesson that is brought to us in this on these words, like Evosh, is that we do not have to apologize for the Jewish things that we do or for the Jewish things we believe. We are so worried what other people will think and what other people will say. And can I do this? And can I do that? And it's okay. We allowed to be Yidden. We must be Yidden, and we mustn't be embarrassed about being Yidden. David HaMelech tells us this. He says, "Va'adabra ba'edesecha," we can speak about Torah without the lay evash, and we won't be embarrassed. I often think about this concept that I was in somebody's house, and it was a Friday night meal, and the husband had the practice of reading a Dvar Torah, and his English wasn't very good. And the children all used to go, like, when the father would say after the fish, "Okay, I'm gonna say a Dvar Torah." All the children started rolling their eyes and sighing and saying, "Ta, is it a short one this week?" Okay, and did you practice? Like, they were so embarrassed that their friends and family would see their father saying that a Dvar Torah, and they wanted to speak about the cricket or the rugby or whatever it is. And David HaMelech says we never have to be embarrassed when it comes to talking Torah. Don't be embarrassed. Lo evash. Don't be embarrassed about it at all. I will delight in your mitzvahs, asher ahavti, which I love. And this word shows a very unusual word. But David HaMelech is saying, He's using this word, which actually means more than just delight, but it means absolute loving, okay, being wanting to be involved with it all the time. And Radak says, how do we know if we are delighting in Torah and mitzvahs or not? We all think we delight in most of Torah and mitzvahs. And he says, check what you do during your free time. So I think that's very, the Radak was very before his time. There was no Facebook or phones or any of that during the time of the Radak. And still he says, how can you check on if you are really delighting in Torah and mitzvahs? What do you do when you have a few minutes extra? Do you say a kapitel of Tehilim? Do you learn a few words of Torah? Or do you play Candy Crush? What do we choose to do? And when we get involved in Torah, then when we see that that's our natural response, then we know that I am delighting in Torah. And why? Because I love it. Okay. Asher Hafti, I love it. And the last one of these psukim, Va'esach hapayim mitzvaysecha, and I raise my hands to your mitzvahs, Asher Hafti. Again, this word, which I love, Va'asicha bechukecha, and I speak of your statutes. So this idea of Va'esach hapayim, I raise my hands, I reach out for it, I want it, I love it, and I just as when there's a sweet dish on the table, my hand just goes out to take a sweet. So this is how it should be when it comes to Torah. Why do we do it? Just because we love it. And he explains, he says, this would be the ultimate sign for us that we love Torah and we love what we're doing. Chukim, where he says, are those mitzvahs which we don't understand. Now think of a human being, things we understand and we know a lot about, we like to talk about. We love chatting about something that we know better than everybody else at the table or in the social group or whatever. Things we don't understand so well, we generally keep quiet, right? We're more quiet about them. So we would imagine then that when it comes to Torah that inspires us, motivates us, or things that we'll talk about it, okay? We'll talk about it because we love it. But what about the parts of Torah that we don't understand so well? Or what about the parts of Torah that maybe we're uncomfortable with because we don't understand them so well? They're chukim, they're things that maybe we don't like them at all. David HaMelech says, Hashem, bring me to a place that my chatter, my sicha, my everyday chatter will include chukecha, your statues, even things that I possibly don't understand as well as everything else. And that brings us to the end of the eight verses of Vav. Next time, please, God, Zion. And so this was the prayer of David HaMelech, asking, please, that Hashem should bring Mashiach. And how will we get this ultimate kindness? Through loving Torah, through loving it, practicing it, and loving it some more. Have a good end of fast. Have a happy Purim and a good Shabbos.
The same to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
just
you.
take care. And thank you for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.